The funniest thing I heard, I read an article on Coin Telegraph that was saying that half of Australians think that Elon Musk is the founder of Bitcoin. Can you imagine? Yes, more than half of Australians think Elon Musk is the founder of Bitcoin. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. Yeah.
Today I have on Gideon Nweze, founder and CEO of Diba, currently in beta right now. Diba is a digital art platform where you can collect and sell premium assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. He drops by to share why NFT art on Bitcoin's protocol is superior to Ethereum's, specifically in terms of security, speed of transaction, and financial opportunity for artists. We touch upon ETH 2.0, the long-term issues of proof of stake, and how artists can truly take back ownership of their art without fear of being revoked. A bit of a note, we were kind of vibing pre-interview, so it begins with a little momentum already. But I hope you enjoy. It's Friday, get some sun, and stay off of coin market cap. You promise? Okay, cool. Enjoy the video.
Yeah, thank you for getting me to this conversation, this interview. Basically, it's pretty good. I'm pretty excited. For several reasons, of course. Yesterday I just got an email that we will be pitching our product on a Bitcoin conference too. So we got to the final, so which was a very good thing. So like I think what the history of like NFTs is that like I think from me basically it's more about like thinking about things in the first principles, right? Because the art is something that will always be there, right? And then when we look at like the world we are in and then what the future could look like, I think the digital art is going to be this whole new thing that everybody will want to be part of, right? And the next generations will maybe likely be using more of digital art compared to the physical art that's hanging on my wall that is not moving or that I can't do much with. Right. And then the other concept of having like bearer rights, having like your digital assets, having clear ownership rights, etc., and then making it easy for another person to transfer you to another person and making it scarce and secured is something that's also very, very important. And that's like just thinking about that in that level, led us to kind of really go deep into figuring out where should we build a platform on, right? And then as a Bitcoin and just looking into Bitcoin, I'm understanding that Bitcoin is the most decentralized blockchain, right? And even if every other chain is going to have like 51% attack at some point, which is something that is very feasible when Ethereum goes on proof of stake. It's on Bitcoin, like the layer solution is very, very good. Like it's very strong. It's like this analogy here for me is like when you're building a house, because my dad likes like, building houses. He talks about his foundation, right? So you want to have the foundation very strong so you can build anything on top of it, right? And so that is why like we are building on Bitcoin, because we're building on Bitcoin with a very strong foundation, and then we're building on layer 2 and layer 3 for scalability. The interesting thing here is that when you talk about like smart contracts, it's not the same way it's being built on Ethereum, right? Where you have like smart contracts that's like kind of global to everybody, like with the assets that we're working on, right? The digital assets that we're working on now. Like when I send you the assets, I send you the smart contracts too. So a smart contract is a contract between two people, right? So when I'm sending this asset to you, you own the asset and you own the contracts. So it's like we use something called client-side validation, right? And single-use sales, which the whole idea is like, how you want to see this is when if let's say I want to buy this chocolate from you, right? Or you want to buy this chocolate from me, right? And then you give me $1. If you give me $1, I will look at the dollar and maybe I have like this fluorescent tube that I use to check if it's a real dollar. If I believe it's a real dollar, right, I'll hold $1 and I'll give you the chocolate, right? So that is basically client-side validation, where the client gets to validate if this contract makes sense or not, right? And so it really brings in this high level of security when it comes to respect to assets. For artists, right, you don't have to pay $100 in Ethereum to do minting fees, right? Or you don't have to go to another chain that is not strong enough that could maybe disappear one day, right? to go mint your art, right? So you end up like actually minting your art on the most decentralized chain, which is very secured. You don't have to pay gas fees to mint anything, and I think that is really really beautiful.
Okay, well, let's get into that in terms of the pros and cons versus working on the Bitcoin network versus Ethereum, like Solidity and all that. So critics will say, hey, we're already moving to ETH 2.0. We're already moving to proof of stake, which will speed transactions. We'll be able to put hundreds of transactions just on one chain, and that shall reduce the transaction fees, right? Because right now is ridiculous. Like you'll do like one smart contract purchase is like $1,000, $800, gas fees. So they're saying once they move to 2.0, it will reduce those transaction fees and make it more attractive to digital artists. So what would you say to critics who give that argument?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that like the point of blockchain is not to have fast transaction. If the point of blockchain is to have fast transaction, then we'll be using databases, right? So like, I think I have like two issues against proof of stake, because I think, when I took like a very deep, when I took like, I have very two issues against proof of stake, right? The first thing is that I think proof of stake is flawed in the sense that um it can easily actually be hacked. Like they can easily get like 51% attack, right? Because it's a question of like you are depending on, like it becomes like it's a game of money basically, right? So I'm gonna say, hey, I'm putting like 32 ETH, and then all those who have 32 ETH are willing to like be the ones having the confirmation. So let's say Bitcoin becomes like very high, and then some Bitcoiners can afford like 32 ETH. They could all get together, and this could have like 51% attack. Or let's say, Elon Musk tweets about Ethereum is shade, and then all those who have 32 ETH who staked agrees that it's shade, they get 51% attack. So it's like you cannot depend on human greed to run a decentralized system. That's like a very big flaw. It's not going to work, right? Like, and that's why, like, when we look into like why Bitcoin has like electricity and all of that, like with the like the laws of thermodynamics, you convert energy to energy. Like you can't get something from air. Like money, like is air. Money is not real. It's created by humans. It's like a concept, right? And so if you're building your technology, yes, it's a social construct, right? You're right. So like if and technology is built on money, that is not a very strong foundation, right? And then the second thing, which is very very personal, I think that proof of stake to some extent is, I wouldn't, okay, the right word, I don't want to sound like politically not correct.
Man, go ahead, let it fly. That's why we got this platform.
I think proof of stake to some extent is actually first of all, I want to use maybe racist or not equitable, because it's the fact that you need to have 32 ETH for you to run a node, right? Anybody could literally run a Bitcoin node.
Right.
Anybody can run a Bitcoin node. And now democratized. Now let's look at the future, right? I was born in Nigeria. The future is that we actually have more people in developing countries than people in developed countries, right? And then when we talk about like wealth, right? Wealth, it's also a social construct, but currently there is more wealth in the developed countries. I mean, I lived in Russia. I've been in Europe for most of a long time. So like there is more wealth in Europe, in America, maybe more in Europe than in America, like old money, right? And so this old money can actually acquire more ETH and actually run node, right? And so
they'll have more of a say. They have more of a vote because of the amount of ETH that they have, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in the future, like if everybody could have like smaller, like what's it called, bigger devices, new phones, maybe at some point phones would be able to like run full nodes, and then every single person working around in the world could actually be a Bitcoin node. And I think that is very exciting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When you think about proof of stake, it's like, okay, well, you need 32 ETH. Now, if you're only starting out with $200 or less than that, and you have a full-time job and you don't have as much in your savings, how do you build up to 32 ETH? So you're actually taken out of that pool, out of that voting pool, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the people who already have the resources can easily get that, and now they have their vote, and it's back to the same system that we've already always had.
Yeah.
Those who have the gold make the rules, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So with Bitcoin is different. Everything is democratized, decentralized. I don't care if you have a node running a node in Nigeria, here in America, Sri Lanka. It doesn't matter. It's like your one node is your one vote, right? And it doesn't matter if the Winklevoss is running the node. We're equal in that sense.
Yeah.
So, and we're trying to shift to a decentralized world. And I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose if you go to proof of stake.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not secure.
It defeats the entire purpose of cryptocurrencies. But I know that you're building this platform for digital art on the Bitcoin network. Is Diba? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically Diba is how we see Diba. We see Diba as a love story between the artist and the collector, right? And we're building this platform where we'll be able to like bring in a blue chip digital art, because like first of all, like art has to be like rare, and so we want to bring blue chip digital art, put them on top of Bitcoin, which actually should actually help make the art more valuable, and then connect the artists with the collectors, but at the same time provide like this kind of incentive mechanism within the community where not only the artist and the collector gains when the art is sold, somehow the community, the artist community, also is also reflected in the profits that is made from the sale. So like basically we think, when we think about like this product, right, and what we're building, like our goal literally is how do we reach out to like millions of people? How do we help them understand, own, and use sovereign, non-custodian digital assets on top of Bitcoin? Right, because I think that the future people will be able to like have their assets as non-custodial, right, and that is mainly the goal with the platform. Yeah,
right. So, all right, as we talked a little bit earlier about now, since NFTs have become a part of the mainstream lexicon, like even SNL is making skits on NFTs, so people understand it, but when they think about it, their mind goes directly to OpenSea or Rarible. What does the Bitcoin community need to do to bring attention to those who are interested in it to say, hey, we're actually doing the same thing on the Bitcoin network and it's better for X and Y, Z reasons, right? How do we draw that attention to this new network?
I think with the launch of, yeah. I think you're right. I think with the launch of like our platform and then other network platforms that can actually run NFTs on top of Bitcoin, right? The marketing will be done for itself. Like the community is going to come around such products, because one thing for sure is this, right? This has not been possible it's like you could do NFTs on Bitcoin now, but like it's not really optimized, right? And now you can actually have an NFT on top of Lightning Network, right? And so you can have an NFT on top of Lightning Network, and these NFTs actually can undergo like P2P transfers, right? These NFTs can actually do very complex stuff. So it's like when we launch our NFTs, we plan to do like very interesting NFTs that can actually do complex stuff. Like your NFT could be your bank, basically. You could have an art that pays you money, right? And so that like there are like so many things that you could do with NFTs on Bitcoin, and we think that it's more about like just getting down, finish building the product, launching it, and then talking to the community, which I believe the community is interested. Like the art community too, they really want to have NFTs on Bitcoin, because
do they understand the significance and why it's important to work on the Bitcoin network? Is that being, that information being transferred in a way that they understand?
Yes. So like we've been having these Clubhouse rooms, where we talk with artists. Most of them are mentioned on Ethereum, and then kind of figuring out how they think and sharing what we're working with them, and they're giving us feedbacks, right? What they think, this is good, this is not good, this is how we want to see it, right? I think artists really care about like different things, right? But then when you really try explaining to them like things about like renewable energy and Bitcoin, they're like, wow, we didn't know this before, right? We want to know. Because like this, most artists are calling their art Bitcoin art. And when they make their NFT, yeah. So that's the funny thing. Like,
they
when
don't.
they make their NFT, they all link it to Bitcoin. You might as well just call it Ethereum art. Okay, no one is gonna like argue with you, right? So it's. I think we're gonna get to that like bridge sometime later down in the future when you have like the technology is fully ready and people are actually using it for different things. But I think the biggest selling point to artists who are actually really good is that they want their art to live forever. You want to put your art in a place where actually it could live forever, right? Are you trying to make an art that maybe one day will disappear, or you want the art and your name to be on the metadata and tied to Bitcoin blockchain, which is there, it's going nowhere. So like artists that are very good really care about such things.
Got it. I don't want to get messy, but I read one of your tweets, and you say tokenless layer 2 is the future. So what did you mean by that?
Yeah, so like I mean that do you know why it's expensive to pay gas fee on Ethereum? Like, do you need gas fee?
Oh, wow, that's why I got you on here. So
No,
you can.
no one needs that. And all this is
Nobody
like,
does.
yeah, it's just complexities, right? For the network, right? Like on top of to make your art, you're not paying any gas fee. Your gas fee cannot be as much as $100, right? So it's like most of these platforms, like one thing, of course, that a platform should make profit, right? But then if the idea of making profits is higher than like your urge to make profits, it's more than your urge to contribute to the community, right? Then there's going to be like an issue here. Like currently we're building on top of Lightning, on top of Bitcoin, layer 2, and then this means that this layer 2 is tokenless, so you don't need any token to pay, an extra token to pay to make your transaction, right? Because like most blockchains now will tell you, okay, this is my layer 2, then I have my token. For you to make any transaction, you have to go buy my token and use it as a gas fee to pay and all of that. No. So like the real test case here is that, or the litmus test for very good like layer 2 platforms is that you don't have to pay you don't have to like buy any extra token for you to use it, right? If you have to pay a fee, you pay with a Satoshi, which is like maybe 1 or 2 Satoshis over Lightning. So it's like nothing, right? You don't need to go create this whole new marketing story where, hey, I'm selling 1 million coins.
It's the better alternative, man. And actually, I have a digital artist that we work together. He's probably watching this right now, so you know who you are. And I don't think they know that. I don't think that they know that. Hey, 1 or 2 Satoshis for the transactions. I think because the Ethereum network, it's the most popular right now, so that's where all the artists are going to. But we need to find a marketing campaign. I'll probably have to help you guys with that campaign to show the importance and why this is more beneficial to the artists, how they get paid. They will get paid more overall on this platform, but that sort of information needs to be shared in a digestible way. But yeah, because we were working together and he was just like, I'm going to have to hold off on the project because I'm working on apes right now, the little ape craze on NFT. And I was just like, hey, respect, do your thing. So he's on some monkey business right now. I was like, oh my goodness, you can do the same type of work, on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Next year is going to be very exciting. Like I think the next decade, somehow in my brain, I've seen like how I like broken this is like the first 6 years between 2009 2015 was only Bitcoin, then Ethereum launched, then from 2015 was till 2021, which is another 6 years, is about like this Ethereum and all altcoins, right? Now I think in the next 6 years we'll be able to have like more like different assets on top of Bitcoin, right? And for us, essentially, we chose that we want to go with the route of art because we think that art is a very good a catalyst. It's a big catalyst of change, right? Which working with artists and then with the community would actually be able to like bring about like more change within our community. Because like Bitcoin is really about bringing about change, right? And I think that like when artists should make money, but when they make money, it's not really all about, oh, I sold for 69 million and then that's it, right? Because if that is the case, then the NFT market at some point will disappear because it becomes a question of one person just sells, makes money, nobody else is buying the next art. Like most NFTs on Ethereum, no one is buying them. Like 80% of those arts, after the first drop, then the price starts going down. And so how do we prevent things? Is actually really by making arts that have long-term value and then using technology to enforce it. Yeah.
And there we have it, man. So definitely look forward to Diba and how you guys develop it and the future iterations of it and have more digital artists on top of that platform because one, they get paid more. And then two, you know,
They get paid
it's
in
more
Bitcoin.
secure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they get paid in
exactly.
Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, directly.
Yeah,
No
the
shit
thing
on.
that continues to appreciate. So it's
Yeah.
definitely in their best interest, and you guys are at the forefront of it. So Gideon, thank you so much, and we'll definitely have to have you on again.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I'll be happy to jump on again, especially when we launch the platform and we're ready for marketing. We'll need your help.
Perfect. Got it.
Yeah.